Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Positively Disney podcast. I'm Kimberly Bouchard, your host of the show and the author of the Positively Disney book series. And for any of you that are just joining me for the first time, I thought I'd share a few little things with you about my books. You can actually get one of, or all of them. They're 5 books in total, including the last one, which is the Star Wars edition. They make wonderful Christmas gifts, I've been told. And if you want to have an autograph copy, just message me, reach out to me either through my YouTube or Facebook or my book page, and I would be happy to personalize a book for you. And I am currently working on book 6 and book 7. So I'm very excited about that they will be coming out next year. At least book 6 for sure is on to be released next year. So I want to thank my sponsor, Michelle McKeown, over at Years of Experience. She will put together a wonderful vacation for you if you are heading to any of the parks, be it in Florida. I know Disneyland isn't quite open yet, but she is a wonderful resource, and you can actually reach her by text while you are on vacation. So just tell her that I sent you, and she's at Years of Experience, MMCKEOWN at themouseexperts.com. You know, I'm so excited. I did the draw today for the contest winners. We had a contest that we had started last week, and it ended at 3 p.m. today. And I will be making those announcements after the our guest, after we've done the interview with our guest. And by the way, if you guys have a question or something comes up in the middle of the conversation, please feel free to message me, write down your message to me, and I will try and ask our guest your question. And I see Michelle has said hello. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me all the way from Florida. And so that's what I like to do I want to get your input too. If you guys have questions or comments or whatever, so that I can relay them to our guest as well. Well, I have to tell you, I was really surprised at some of the things I learned about Disney that happened exactly today, October 7th. Believe it or not, 25 years ago, Walt Disney World had their 500 millionth guest arrive at the Walt Disney Resort. Can you imagine? 500 million. I can't imagine what the fanfare would have been involved with that, but I think that's kind of cool to have that kind of number on you as a guest at the parks. Another thing I wanted to share with you that I thought was quite interesting was 22 years ago today, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin opened in Magic Kingdom. And, we always do that ride. It's just kind of a fun ride. Any of you that haven't been on it, it's, there's 2 of you, and you have to hit the targets and be either a galactic hero or whatever hierarchy you can be. I don't get that far, but I did beat my husband in August on it, but it was only because I think his wasn't working that well. But anyways, I have to tell you that my son, my youngest son, has won the Galactic Hero badge on numerous occasions. And this is actually a picture of it. And he got like 999,999. And it's kind of incredible what he does. He's kind of got a system down. So as I said, he's gotten that score a few times. And whenever we go to Walt Disney World, if there's 4 of us that go, my 2 sons go together, my husband and I go together, and obviously my younger son always beats my older son, and it's kind of frustrating, I'm sure. Or if we're all 5 of us are going, it's usually myself and my daughter. My husband goes off on his own, but I do find that attraction a little bit hard if somebody else is steering the area. It's a lot to think about to get the target get the target where you want it, and to manipulate the little buggy there. At any rate, I'm just very excited to share with you my lovely guest who has been a part of some of these movies that you may have seen. We've got Hercules, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, Aladdin, Toy Story 2, DuckTales, and Elena of Avalor. So if you want to just hang on a moment, we are going to dial John's number and get him on the program. Hi, Donna. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Hi, John. Welcome to the Positively Disney podcast. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's, I don't know, it's just taken forever, it seems, to get you on here. And it's just everything happens in life, and you travel a lot, and I'm so glad you can make it. And I don't know whether you heard my little piece of trivia today, which I think you would kind of get a kick out of, but it was actually 22 years ago today, this exact day, that Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Station, Ranger Spin, not Ranger Station, opened at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. Exactly today. So I thought that's
22 years.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it just feels like yesterday.
I know, right? And I mean, Buzz is one of my favorite characters. When when the Toy Story movies came out, our kids had a chance to pick what they wanted, a character. And we came home with 2 Buzz Lightyears and 1 Jessie doll. So Buzz was a big deal in our family. Anyways, John, I had mentioned a little bit about the movies that you were involved in, as far as just generally speaking. But I mean, you've been involved with these films and television shows, not only in animating but in other roles as well. Can you share with us kind of what role you had on which film?
Oh, sure. Well, I started at Disney Studios on Beauty and the Beast. And I was in the cleanup department back then. That's where most people got their start.
Mm-hmm.
And we would clean up the animators' drawings because the animators drew really roughly.
Okay.
And we traced over those drawings and made a nice clean line so that those drawings could be scanned and then painted on the computer.
All right.
Right. So I was doing that on Beauty and the Beast, and what was interesting about that film for me was just in August, everyone was going away on vacation because the production was wrapping up, and James Baxter came into my office and he said, "I need somebody to rough in between this test because everybody was gone." So he gave it to me, and it was the dance sequence with Beauty, with Belle and the Beast dancing in the ballroom.
Oh,
and
wow!
So I just got in between that, and it was wonderful. And at the time, nobody thought that Beauty and the Beast would be as big as it's become.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then I decided, you know what? I really liked this rough in between because it was quick and it was rough, and I didn't have patience for doing cleanup drawings. So Andreas Deja, who was the animator of Jafar. In Aladdin, was looking for an assistant, so I applied, and with the help of a friend of mine who was his cleanup lead.
Okay.
And so I became his assistant on Jafar, and then on Lion King, I worked with him on Scar.
Oh my goodness, that must have been such a neat experience to be able to, really, I guess, get very intimate with these characters, right? You spend a lot of time with them, right?
Well, it's funny because even besides getting to know these characters, we also got to hear the music for these films before anybody else.
Oh.
And what was exciting for Beauty and the Beast was hearing the songs, and then they played the pop song that we'd hear on the radio ever since.
Yeah.
And when we heard it during our dinner break, everybody just thought, "Wow, that's a game changer."
Right.
Because it was such a beautiful song.
You know, you talk about in-betweening and cleanup. So for our audience sake, can you tell us what the difference is between in-betweening
Yeah.
and cleanup? Yeah.
So as I explained, the cleanup drawings, the drawings have to be a very clean, thin line, very precise. And even towards the end of a production, you know, the animators are running out of time or they're running out of steam. Right. So they tend to draw really rough, and they're just concentrating on rough shapes and the acting.
Wow.
And the cleanup department, because everyone's an artist there, they had to, in some cases, work with these really rough drawings, but put the character on model, which means to draw it exactly like the model sheets. So we know exactly who this character is, right. Because every character, you know, there are slight variations, right, in how the animators would draw them, but they're very hard to what's the word? Identify, right, unless you have an eagle eye.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So as a rough in-betweener, I had to match that rough style of the way the animators drew.
Wow.
Lucky for me, Andreas Deja had a very clean style, very nice line quality, so I was able to match that. But also as his rough in-betweener, I would have to take the scenes and film them and add the soundtrack to them.
Wow.
And we would see how the animation worked.
Right, with the music.
And essentially, that's all that was my job, is to make sure his animation worked. And when we saw that it did, then my in-betweens, along with his key animation, would be the plan for the cleanup artist to refer to.
Oh, okay. So it had to have that foundation before it could move sort of through the assembly line, for lack of a better word, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Assembly line. I just had that visual of I Love Lucy and the chocolates, you know, and stuff like that on the assembly line. It's not quite the same, but it's kind of the manufacturing kind of idea.
At the end of a production, it sure felt that way.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh, with the hours and hours and a deadline, right? A schedule that you had to meet. I know you. I think at the beginning of any large project, you always think, "Oh, I've got so much time," and not that you're laid back about it, but you think, "Oh, I've got all this time," and then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh man, where did the time go?" Right? And you kind of have to crunch it, right? Now, you also, I think, did some writing or storyboarding as well?
I could see after Aladdin, then there was a story training. What would it be? They were looking for story artists, and so they created a story training program that I became a part of. And then I storyboarded on Hercules and Tarzan and Toy Story 2.
Okay. Well, that would have been fun. I'm thinking that would have been a
lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Just to see it kind of unfold, for sure. You know, John, you've done so many of these. You've worn a lot of different hats, but I'm curious to know what inspired you to become an animator in the first place, an artist.
Inspired me, you know. I always liked drawing since I was a little kid.
Okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I drew on the inside of my in the womb.
Oh. Oh dear. You're born with a pencil in your hand, were you?
Right.
Okay.
And I've been drawing ever since I can remember, and watching cartoons, of course. And there was a cartoon with a walrus and a penguin, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But they were doing a little cartoon in the cartoon showing kids how you can animate on the corner of paper. And they
Oh,
showed a little guy doing jumping jacks.
okay.
And so I went and grabbed a pad of paper and I started animating in the corners.
There.
So
And
that was my start.
okay. And so when you were animating the corners, so it was kind of like the what do they call it? The little you change it just
Making a flip book.
right, a flip book. That's
Yeah,
the
we're
name of it.
changing the
Yeah.
drawing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, isn't that fun? Now, I remember though they used to sell like flip books just for fun, and people could just open it up
Yes.
and you could see it like literally the character jumping off the page, which is I thought really interesting uh way of doing it. And I think that's a lot of work to create that yourself because you have to just be ever so slightly changing the figure, right?
Yes, but when you think about it in those terms, it seems very daunting. But in reality, it was a lot of fun just you wanted to finish it really fast so you can see your work done.
Oh, okay. Okay. There's
Yeah.
a good reward, a quick reward at the end of that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Now you were in school, and I don't know what particular time in your career, in what area of school you were in, you got to meet
Hmm.
some of the nine old men, or I believe, right? You got
Yeah. Well,
okay. Yeah.
I grew up in Los Angeles
Okay.
in a suburb called Roland Heights,
Okay.
which, it was about 40, 50 miles from Hollywood.
Okay.
But in traffic, it might as well be 100 miles
Oh.
because nobody wants to go out in traffic. But these animators, and I still thank them to this day, they took time out of their day and they drove in the traffic to come out to our animation class. Now, I went to John A. Rowland High School, which was just a public school. It still is public school. It
Hmm.
had a special animation class. And
And
just because the teacher saw that animation caught the students' attention.
okay.
And so a number of us could draw. And
Mhm.
so we made 2D animated films. A lot of kids made clay characters and big sets out of wood and cardboard, and they did 3D animation.
Ah.
And at that time, my animation teacher, Dave Master, he was friends with June Foray. She was the voice of Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
This even goes farther back to junior high when he was my junior high school animation teacher. And then
Mm.
when I moved to high school, the art teacher retired, so he moved over and I had him for 4 more years.
Wow. That's
Being
amazing.
part of this program, we also, we had film festivals that we would enter our films into every year.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, and there were national film festivals. And this was a time when we did our films we made them with Super 8 film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so we had to edit with very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
not like it's done today on computer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the judges of these festivals were also animators. I remember Chuck Jones being a judge,
Mm-hmm.
and of course June Foray and Bill Scott, who was also one of the creators of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson were really great supporters of our program.
Mm-hmm.
So
Two
they
of the
came
nine
down to
old
our
men.
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, two of Disney's Nine Old Men.
Yeah.
And they would look at our work. And the difference was we asked them, what is when you're looking at our work, what can we do to improve so
Mm.
that we could work as animators?
Right.
And they were such nice guys. They only wanted to say, oh, you're doing a great job. Very nice. But we pushed them for real feedback, critique.
Right.
So that was valuable stuff. And, we ate it up. And then we would revise our work and, try and get them to come out again and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
which they did.
Oh.
And we also had an open house at the end of the school year
Mm-hmm.
because we would make our films for the school, for the film festival deadline, which would be April. And then
Okay.
school was out in June.
Right.
So between April and May, we would build a Disneyland-like display in our classroom.
Oh.
And we had about 3 huge rooms, and we were able to split them up into different themes. And we had parents who donated cardboard and paint and wood, and we were able to usher people through a giant studio tour. And we would make great big sets, and I made animatronic characters and put on animatronic shows like you would see the Country Bear Jamboree or something like that, or the Tiki Room.
Fun.
And I made these characters out of remote control helicopter parts.
Oh. Did you have any experience with that before, or that was just you kind of getting to know things as you went along?
Yes, well, America Sings, which used to be at Disneyland.
I remember that, yeah.
Which was one of my favorite rides because of the animated characters. I would just stare at these guys because they were such beautiful robotics.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do just like that. And I wanted to make my own Tiki Room. So I just built them.
My gosh.
And
wow.
anyways, we ended up having 2-hour waits for people to get in, and we had to extend the open house over 3 weekends. And at this time, computer animation was just starting out in the studios. And so computer companies ended up donating computers to our classroom because they wanted to see what we could do with them.
That's smart, because you guys are going to find a way to use them the way that they were hoping you would find a way, right? To incorporate it in your whole animation.
We did. And
okay.
I can tell you now that practically every animated film that's been made in Hollywood and over the last 30 years has had a graduate of my animation program on the team.
There you go. Oh my goodness. You guys sound like a really real special group of I shouldn't say kids, but young youth, I think, at that time. That was high school, you said, John? That was in high school
that was high school, yeah.
Wow. Now, I mean, did you do that every year throughout high school, like your 3 or 4 year program?
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And then after I graduated, I would still go back and see what the kids were doing. And I was also, too, a liaison, because when I was working at Disney, I would get everyone excited to come down to our high school and see what we were doing, the other kids. And it turns out that one year, of course, this was in the animation boom time back in the 90s,
right?
That we had the presidents and executives from Warner Brothers, from DreamWorks, from Disney, the other studios that were out there at the time. They were all coming and hiring our kids right out of high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that says a lot.
Parents.
Says a lot about your program and you guys.
It was amazing, and the parents would say, wait a minute, my kids just got a contract offer from to work on The Simpsons, and they were ready to sign when they got another contract offer from Disney, and they'd come to my teacher, what should I do?
Oh, wow, that's incredible. So you guys started like right in there, right away. Did you take that path? I'm trying to remember. Did you start directly with the studios right after high school, or what did you do?
No, I started doing theme park design. I worked on theme parks in Singapore and Korea, and because I had visited the studio, and they said they needed me to have some seasoning.
Okay.
So I spent 2 years doing theme park design, and then I went back in and showed my portfolio and was hired on the spot.
Nice. gosh.
Yeah.
What was it like to that first day, if you can recall, walking in?
Oh, are you kidding?
No, I'm wondering.
Yesterday.
Okay, so what was it like for you that very first day? What did it feel like?
Well, the friendliest face. Everyone was so friendly. And there's something about people that work at Disney that they are just the friendliest people you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorothy McKim, who was then a production assistant and now a producer
Mm-hmm.
at the studios, I sat next to her, and she introduced me to everybody. And we were working on Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. Okay.
I would sit down and I would listen to everyone because they're tired because they've been putting in long hours.
Yeah.
They're saying, and it's funny because as artists, they're looking at it in terms of the hard work that they're putting in. So
Mm-hmm.
the cleanup lines to draw the beast, it
Mhm.
took a lot of pencil mileage
Right.
because they're all the hair that had to be done. And you have to look at it carefully as you're doing all these drawings
Mm-hmm.
and all the line work.
Mm-hmm.
Animators were tired, and when we would look at scenes, they'd say, "This isn't going to be popular. No one's going to like this film."
Mm.
And I think to myself, it'd be like it was like being in heaven and hearing angels complaining.
Yeah. It's a good way of putting it. Oh dear. Oh.
Because I was so excited to be there. I was
Yeah.
really shocked.
Yeah. Oh
But
gosh.
let me tell you, the greatest moment was we'd go after lunch. We would sit in the theater, and we'd see the dailies, which would be the all of the animated scenes that were done up from the week before. And we sat down in the dark theater, and we see the pencil test of the beast turning into the prince. So it was a lot of effects drawings, and it was the beast lifting up in the air. Lifting up in the air, turning around, and it was Glenn Keane's magical drawings. And then, there was a moment of anticipation, and then the beast head turns around, and it's the handsome prince.
Oh wow.
And these were just drawings.
Wow.
But in the audience, all the women gasped. And I thought to myself, that's the power of, great acting and drawing is to get such a spontaneous reaction from an audience.
Oh boy.
And the other times in Disney history where that happens, that everyone can remember, is when Bambi's mother died.
Yeah.
When Dumbo is sitting on his mother's trunk.
Yeah.
And she's swinging him in the lullaby.
Yeah.
I mean, such magical moments. But to be part of that is really fantastic, and I'll always remember those moments.
I think that is kind of a very special, absolutely. It's a moment in your life that you will never, ever forget. And I bet you that was your first film. What did it feel like to see it in the theater? Because I know you went to the theater to see it.
Oh, yeah. I was there with of course we saw it at the wrap party.
Right.
Which was exciting.
Yeah.
And at that time, too, we thought we were going to win Best Picture because we were up against Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, wow.
But then Silence of the Lambs won.
Yeah.
But what was personally exciting is I saw it with my family at a screening in our local theater, and just as my name was coming up in the credits, my mother and my grandmother and my sister yelled at the people in front of us, "Sit down!"
Oh, not to leave before the credits finish rolling.
They were blocking our view, so that was funny.
Oh gosh, that's something that I always do. I always wait till after all the credits roll. It's so important to me because those are the people that put their blood, sweat, and tears into that project to make it alive on the screen. And I want to know who they are. I want to see their names. And you often see, right, your name in
Yeah.
other places. And then of course you see the production babies. And if you're lucky, you get to see an
Yeah.
extra little something at the end. But I really always enjoy, over the years, we've always made a point to stay and give sort of credit to the animators, the everybody, involved in
Hmm.
the film. I really enjoy that. And I remember seeing your name up there. And it's really fun for me
Oh, thanks.
to get, to see that, oh, I know that guy, and
Oh,
I understand. I've had a glimpse of what you have done in our conversations, or,
yeah.
what it takes to do something like that. I think that's, gosh. Um,
What's funny about it now is that I can look at any Disney film and enjoy it like anyone,
right.
the beautiful artistry. But
Mm.
when I look at the films I worked on, I only think of what I was doing or thinking about or what was happening in my life at the time we were
Ah,
working on those scenes.
oh, that's interesting. Makes sense
Yeah.
because that was, it's a certain time frame in your life that, you were
Yeah.
animating, but you also had a life that you were living at the same time, which that makes sense. But I'm glad you can enjoy the others, because sometimes you might think, as an artist, you might, I mean, everybody's got their own style. They've got their own strengths. And I think it's
Yeah.
nice that you guys can admire each other's work.
Hmm.
I've been noticing that even with my own son, who is in art and animation as well, and the different styles that he'll comment on, or things like that. There's never really any down talk or anything. It's just always a reflection. I feel like, of you guys kind of
Yeah.
tend to reflect on others' work.
It's very humbling because you feel like, oh my God, I can never draw like they can draw.
Mm.
And the ideas that people, and especially back then, the walls were filled with artwork.
Oh,
And it was so inspiring to go through and just look at it, all the artwork on the walls.
okay. Now, growing up in California, when did you first become a maybe a Disney fan? Was there a particular moment that you became a Disney fan before the
Well,
whole
when you grow
studio
up,
thing?
you grow up in Los Angeles, Disney's in your blood
Okay.
because you're just around Disneyland all the time.
Hmm.
And I just remember being a toddler and being carried, um, or they were renting strollers
Hmm.
and seeing Disneyland and how magical it was, and the lights. But
Oh.
I particularly remember just experiencing all of these animated characters coming to life, the trains, the monorails, and the colors.
Mm-hmm.
But leaving, because of course it's the end of the day, and you're a toddler, you're half asleep. My dad's carrying me, and I'm half asleep, and I'm looking at the park as we're walking to our car, and
Hmm.
just seeing the magical lights off in the distance, and thinking, I want to be part of that,
Oh, wow.
and
Gosh.
and not and and not in a way where uh, I want to go back and enjoy it. Of course I did, but I want to know how they did it,
Okay. Okay. So
and that stuck with me since I was a kid.
that's, this is not the first time I've heard this. So things happen very, very early in life that affect us.
Yes,
And
yes.
the lights that you're trying to figure out, I really think the lights, there's something quite magical about that in a Disney park. And even today,
Yes,
there is something, it's enchanting, really. I think that's the better
hmm,
word for it. It's very enchanting.
exactly.
You know, I mean, you've done so much in your life. And can you let the audience know, where
Hmm.
has your career led you? Because it's led you to doing other things, of course. So can you share with some of the others, some of the things that you have been involved in outside of Disney as well?
Well, there's this Disney magic that I was so blessed to be to be at the studio when we made, well, these modern classics,
Yeah.
really. But to know the Disney animators that came before us, Disney's Nine Old Men, because, well, I knew Frank and Ollie really well. In fact, I was also on a Disney Channel special with Frank and Ollie called Animation Fascination.
Oh, check that out.
And we sat in the audience. It's on YouTube, actually.
Okay.
And Frank and Ollie taught us the 12 principles of animation just before their book came out. In fact, they signed my Illusion of Life,
Oh, okay.
the Disney book that is really just the Bible of animation for anyone in the business. And
right.
To the fastest animator we know.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really nice personal note.
So they said the fastest animator I know. So you
Frank and Ollie
were a very quick animator then? Is that your...
Yes, I draw quickly.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's interesting because not everybody can do that.
That's my one superpower.
It's your superpower. That's an incredible one, really, when you think about it, because that gets the job done and they need things quickly. And obviously it's done well. That's wow, kudos to you, because I know how much work goes into that stuff, and to be considered the fast. And I think, isn't that so lovely to have two of the Nine Old Men recognize that and to sign that? That's really, really special. Wow. Wow.
So when I had met Mark Davis as well, and Ken Anderson.
Yes.
And, their work is all over Disneyland.
Yes.
In Pirates of the Caribbean, America Sings, and all of our favorite rides and attractions. And I used to think, well, they animated and they also did theme park design, so I can do that too. And so I've had the great luck to work on theme parks in South Korea, in Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, China, and also in Spain and Middle East. The world loves American entertainment, cartoons. They love the thrill rides,
Right.
And, well, it is a Southern California industry. There are many design firms in Los Angeles that specialize in theme park design because of our experiences working and playing in Disney.
So you brought that.
But what's nice about it is that it's that very personal Disney connection that many of us have. We're able to share with the world. Because there are people in other countries that love Disney as much as we do.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
In fact, I remember one story where my wife and daughter and I were in Tokyo Disneyland.
Okay.
And we finished our evening and we were walking back to the train station. But they have their downtown Disney as well.
Okay.
So we were walking through the area, and there was this table with a bunch of paper laid out, blank paper, markers. And we looked at it, my daughter and I, and we said, oh, they were probably having kids draw pictures here all day. But there was nobody around. So I said, I'm going to draw all the Disney characters I know on all of these papers and leave them for somebody to find in the morning.
Oh my gosh. That's so
every once in a while, my daughter and I will look at each other. I wonder what their faces must have been like.
Oh my gosh.
Come to the desk. Just come to the table and find Mickey and Minnie and Cogsworth.
Oh gosh, that's so fun. I love that. Do you, that's kind of just like passing on the magic, isn't it? Just spreading the magic a
Yes.
little bit here and there. And you've got that God-given gift and hard work behind your animation, your drawing. And I think that's just so fun. Do you do that anymore? Like, I don't know, like at a restaurant or whatever, do you just like,
Well, that's
because you're
funny
so
you should
quick?
mention that
Oh, okay.
because on another trip to Japan, my
Okay.
daughter was much younger.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was in a sushi restaurant with a friend of mine, and he just loved telling everyone that I worked at Disney.
Okay.
And so we're sitting down, and it was at a small restaurant in Tokyo.
Mhm.
And he was wanting me to draw for him, so I was drawing him Mickey. And then the sushi chef saw me do it, and then he asked, "Well, can you draw me Mickey too?" I said, "Of course." And then the other chef saw, and then the other customers in the restaurant saw.
Oh, uh-oh.
I ended up drawing for everyone in the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
But we got free dinner.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
they were they were so kind. They brought in presents for my daughter.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So it was a really sweet evening, and I loved drawing. And I had already eaten, so I was good.
Oh, okay. Oh, I love that. That is, you can't even plan stuff like that, right? It's just like that happiness by chance, it
Yeah.
random acts of happiness, I guess you could say it. I love that. Oh, that's so fun. Did you just draw Mickey's or did you draw other characters too? I'm curious.
Well, because I was wanting, because people were wanting characters so quickly, Mickey was the easiest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't imagine doing like 20 different characters. That would have been
Yeah.
you would have been there all day and night, I think. Oh, I love that. Gosh.
Well, when I was much younger and was working at Disney, and I went to visit a friend of mine in a really small town outside of Tokyo, 2 hours by bullet train.
Mm.
I spoke at their children's elementary school,
Oh.
and I drew for all the kids. And so it just seemed there was this family that were just super Disney fans
Mm.
that later stopped by at my friend's house,
Oh.
and they gave me this huge side of sashimi, raw tuna, to
Wow.
thank me for visiting their school. And I thought to myself, I must be the first Disney animator in history to get a side of raw tuna. As a
Yeah,
thank you gift.
I think so. That's pretty precious. Did you eat it all?
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh my gosh, isn't that fun? Oh,
Yeah.
you never know. And what's so fun about this, John, is like you're just doing what you love, and then all of a sudden, a side of tuna shows up, or what, or
Right.
oh,
Good thing I liked it.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so fun. Oh my gosh, John, for
There was a kid there.
go ahead.
There was a kid that spent all night learning It's a Small World on the piano so he could play it back for me the next day.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah. And I thought that was really nice.
That is very sweet. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there are Disney fans everywhere in the world, but not everybody can necessarily get to experience that kind of magic in a park, like a park experience, right? They have to do it through the films or through people like you that would go into a school to do a talk or draw, or they have to have it brought to them somehow, right? So I think that's wonderful. What, for anybody that is watching the program that is thinking about possibly going into the industry, the animation industry, or whatever, are there any sort of words of wisdom that you could share with us, John, tonight to that you've kind of learned that you would like to share with them?
What I've noticed about animation students, I've met some of the most talented kids I've met are always the shyest. And if they could
Ah.
break out of their shell, they would be so powerful as individuals, and because of the talent they have,
Hmm.
they're just afraid for some reason to be able to do that. But to be able to draw and to be able to animate, when in the old days in the films like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, we animators had to be good artists. That's not true anymore. Because of computer animation, you
Mm.
can be a great animator,
Mm.
but you don't have to draw.
Okay.
So now those talents have separated. You just have to be a great actor and learn how to animate on the computer.
Okay.
But if you're an artist and you enjoy drawing, you can do other roles
Mm-hmm.
in creating animated film, storyboarding, backgrounds, building the character design,
Mm-hmm.
plenty of things to do.
Mm.
And I find that artists just have to, it's in them. They want to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all you want to do is get home and draw. You don't want to do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And those are the kids I find that are successful because you'd rather draw than eat.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah.
I have somebody living under my roof like that, and I'm always bringing food down. As a matter of fact, he just did a 24-hour animation competition this past weekend, and I'd only found out about it on I think the Friday during the day, just a few hours before it started, and
Yeah.
it was a 33-second animation. So what you're saying to me is just, I hear that. I mean, I'm living it, and the whole eating thing. I've
Yep.
always been concerned about, you guys that work so many hours, so long, and you're so laser focused, that you don't eat. And so you need people like around
Yeah.
you that will feed you or make sure that you're sustaining or being hydrated at least. Oh
But
gosh.
those are the moments artists live for, is to be
Yeah.
in that moment of flow
Yeah.
and to
Well,
have those opportunities.
that's it. That's so interesting. It's so neat because I'm hearing it from your perspective and I'm seeing it living, here.
Hmm.
And I think he's the only one out of the team of five. He didn't sleep. He didn't rest at all.
Yeah.
He was there up until the project was finished. He edited it, stuff like that. But I love what you said about them having to come out of their shell. Do you think that perhaps they are they I mean, you artists internalize so much, and do you
Hmm.
think that that transition from internalizing to getting it out there, not that there's a disconnect, but do you think that they're just so used to internalizing it that to shout it out, or that's just sort of the opposite of what they're really like? Do you think that's kind of the issue,
Yeah.
or are they
I think
scared? I don't know.
it's probably some of that, and for everybody it's different.
Right.
And someone can be really shy. I was really shy as a
I was
kid,
going
but
to
I
just
found
ask
that
that. Okay.
drawing was what uh, made friends for me.
Okay.
So I was always the kid that loved to draw in
Ah.
school, and whenever we had one of those assignments, everyone would turn around and look at me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love that. Now, I wanted to just ask one last little question. So your
Mhm.
group of, I don't know how many were in your class, your art class in high school. Would there be about a couple of dozen of you were there, or was there a dozen,
Oh,
or?
well, every year there was a couple dozen, 20 or 30 kids that loved animation. And in fact, the Disney Studios even created a internship program just for 24 of our kids.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow, that's impressive. Do
Yeah.
you This may sound kind of silly to ask, but do you
Uh,
stay in touch with them yet? Are you still in touch
oh,
with?
yeah.
Oh, you okay.
We're all still in touch. We have a Facebook page that we keep in touch with, and our animation teacher's always remembering somebody's birthday on
Oh,
there.
oh, isn't that
And
sweet?
we'll share with each other what films we've been working on. And um, Like
Ah,
Clay Cadis, who was a graduate of our program, he was the director of the Angry Birds movie.
oh, for goodness
So
sakes.
he had a special screening for all of us many
Oh,
years ago when it first came out. So we all got to celebrate with him.
ah. I love that. I have to say that I think that's what it's all about. Sure, the animation is absolutely wonderful and to be an artist and to do these wonderful things. But I think that it's the people that make the best of it all. Do you know what I mean? I think that it's
Yes.
those relationships with people and being able to share it with others, your family, your friends. I think that is what it's all about.
Well, it was the camaraderie we had, and we all came from different backgrounds
Sure.
and different lifestyles, and some of the students were gang members, but
Oh,
had a respect for the work we were doing in our animation class, and they changed course in their lives
right.
and ended up becoming working in the studios.
Okay. And you know
And that's
what?
the power of art.
Well, yeah, and you need all those life experiences to be able to create what you're doing. A film
Yeah,
has come
right.
from life experiences of the artist, and you're putting a part of you lives in those films, obviously.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
you don't want all peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in there. You know what I'm saying? You want some
Yeah.
some different folks too. Oh gosh. John, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to share with us some of your experiences. And I look forward to the day that we can sit down and have a cup of coffee or tea or whatever,
Yeah.
and share a little bit more, because you've done so much, and I'm so happy for you that you have had the career you've have and keep having, and the experiences as a
Oh,
youth.
thank you.
I'm so glad for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to share too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thanks
Mm.
again, John, and we'll be in touch real soon.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. You take
Mm.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, gee, that I always learn something new. Well, more than one thing usually when I have a guest on, and it was so nice to have John on tonight. I know that in other conversations I've had with him, and for you guys that live in the California vicinity or even the Walt Disney World vicinity, I mean, living up in the Seattle area, of course, I would never hear this, but I can only imagine. You guys laying in bed at night listening to the fireworks. And I remember John sharing that with me when he was a little boy. He would hear the fireworks. And it was quite a distance, away, but he would hear the fireworks and dream of that magical place that we always, gravitate towards. And I think I'm just very blessed to be able to share a little bit with you tonight, and hear from a lovely person that has been involved in the Disney television animation and so on. Um, Guys, I want to let you know about our contest winners, and I'm not sure if they're listening to right now. I know one of the contest winners is actually overseas in the UK, but I'm going to start with the first winner of our contest. Gina Rojo won the backpack. This is the backpack that I brought back from, I think it was Walt Disney World, if memory serves me. So she was the winner of that. Alex Maher, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. You are the winner of the very first Positively Disney book in the series, and you will have that personalized. The winner of the orange bird little park pal, I think he's so adorable, is Ramy Bruno, who lives over in London. So I'll be shipping that off to you, Ramy. And the last but not least the lucky winner of the Goofy's Candy Company that we all love candy is Chad Baseman. So congratulations to all of you guys. I'm going to message you and get your addresses and send these off to you. And I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel and to commenting during our show last week and on the announcement as well yesterday. So with that, I just again want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm Kimberly Bouchard of the Positively Disney podcast and author of the Positively Disney book series. And please, you guys, take care, be well, stay safe, and we will see you next week at the same time for another lovely guest. So I want to say bye for now. Oh, Gina was watching today. So yes, congratulations, Gina. And I just want to say goodbye to my friend, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us tonight as well. I know you're a few hours ahead of us. So anyways, guys, thanks again. And we'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.